Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
Tonight, Justin Verlander will make his final start of the 2015 season. JV trying to put the finishing touches on a dominant stretch, an ERA of 2.05 over his last 10 starts. It is a cloudy, cool, windy evening tonight. We welcome into Chicago Game 2 in this series, featuring the Detroit Tigers and the Chicago White Sox. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba alongside Rod Allen. Glad to have you with us here for Game 2 in the series. Justin Verlander will get the call tonight, Rod, for the Tigers. And it's good to see going into the offseason, the Tigers apparently have their ace back.
Well, if you're Brad Ausmus and Al Avila, the new general manager, you're elated at the fact that Justin Verlander is 100% healthy and looks like he is going to resume that role as the ace going into 2016.
Right now, there were whispers early in the season, what has happened to Justin Verlander? The velocity is gone. Well, apparently nothing is wrong with Justin Verlander. His velocity, his last couple of starts, been awfully good.
Well, Justin Verlander said we were making too much about the velocity being down. He had some injuries the last couple of years, which prevented him from getting up to that velocity that we've become accustomed to watching. But in his last couple of outings, he's gotten all the way up to 97, 98, and 99 miles per hour. This is the Justin Verlander that we watched just a few years ago when he was absolutely dominant, winning an MVP and also a Cy Young. We also witnessed Justin Verlander with runners in scoring position, man on third, nobody out, bases loaded. He gets the job done by throwing mid-90s fastball. So I just love the way that Justin's been going about his business lately. And it looks like that velocity's back up there, and there's no reason to believe, Mario, that next year it can't be in that 95 to 98 range.
All right, now one of the major hurdles in the lineup for the White Sox, make that the major hurdle in the lineup for the White Sox. Jose Abreu, he's back in there tonight, an awfully good first 2 years in the big leagues.
Oh, he's been really, really good. Coming stateside from Cuba, he's been one of the most dominant hitters in the game of baseball. He has had some success against Justin Verlander, but Verlander's got him the last couple of times. But take a look at his ranks since he came to the big leagues at the beginning of 2014. The batting average over 300. He's hit a ton of home runs. He drives in boatloads of runs because he will be unselfish by taking the ball the other way, and the OPS is simply off the chain. He's one guy that Justin Verlander tonight, if the situation presents itself where Abreu could beat him, you might as well just stay away from him.
Might as well. I'm all about that. Hey, just a couple of minutes away from Tigers baseball. Game 2 in the series coming up after a short break. We'll send you back to the Call Sam Studios. Check in with Justin White. Coming up tonight, well, Miguel Cabrera continues his march toward his 4th batting title. Miggy and the Tigers taking on the White Sox next. There's Miguel Cabrera back in the lineup tonight. We'll check out the Tigers starting 9, brought to you by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Anthony Gose leads it off in center field, and Kinsler at second base. Miguel Cabrera leads the batting title race. Xander Bogaerts is behind him at 322. JD Martinez DHing tonight. Collins in left, Castellanos at third, Moya, Machado, and Avila your bottom three, and they're facing the right-handed offerings of Eric Johnson.
And Johnson auditioning for a spot in the rotation next year, and he's handled himself very nice in his last 5 starts in the big leagues. 3-1 with a 3.45. His fastball gets up to 94 miles an hour. He has the 3 secondary pitches. That would be the slider, the curveball, and the changeup. Doesn't like the curve as much as his slider and his change.
It is a brisk evening, to say the least, here in Chicago. Very windy as it was last night, and we are ready for baseball this evening as Anthony Gose looks at ball 1 up high.
I guess it's not nicknamed the Windy City for nothing.
You can tell that the uniforms all ruffled tonight. Flags are starched. Numbers on Gose, 254 this year. And he shoots that one back to the screen. 1-1. Here's what it's like for the players tonight. It's 48 right now and dropping, so I think the high today was only in the low 50s. And very, very windy here tonight. 1-1 pitch is low. 2 balls and 1 strike. It'll be Gose and then Kinsler and then Cabrera, the top 3 for the Tigers. Anthony looks at another one down low, and the count goes 3-1. Johnson, 25 years old, out of Mountain View, California. He and Kinsler waiting on deck. Here's a strike call. 3-2 now on Gose. Tigers lost a tight one last night as the White Sox held on 2-1. And a swing and a miss. Anthony down on strikes, 1 gone.
Let's take a look at the Chicago White Sox starting defense. It is brought to you by Tim Hortons. Right to left, it's Garcia, Eaton, and Thompson. And they have Ramirez and Sanchez up the middle, Olt and Abreu on the corner, and Brantley is the catcher. And Garcia, with 17 outfield assists this year, leads all Major League outfielders. Boy, can he throw from that position.
You're seeing Kinsler. I mentioned that Cabrera going for a batting title this weekend. Kinsler trying to finish up over 300. He is at 299. 11 home runs, 73 driven in. A fine season for the Tigers second baseman. 2-0 the count.
Ian Kinsler along with Miguel Cabrera were given the night off last night by Brad. As a matter of fact, there's 2 games off for Kinsler in the last 5.
Ian takes a strike on the outer edge. Not so sure about that call from Adrian Johnson. 2-1.
Looks like Ian had a beef.
Now run the count to 3-1 on Kinsler. 185 hits this year. He had 188 last year. A ground ball foul just outside the bag. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Ian Kinsler is an outstanding fastball hitter. He has been a really good fastball hitter since coming to the big leagues 10 years ago. And very seldom can you throw a heater by Ian.
Drill down the left field line. That ball is hooking, and it will go foul.
And Johnson tried to sneak that piece of cheese by Ian Kinsler. 3 balls and 2 strikes, and Ian got out in front of it and hooked it foul. Had home run distance.
Johnson making his 6th start after being called up on September the 1st from the minor leagues. Fouled off. 3-2 the count stays.
Ian, one of those hitters that gets set really early with his front foot, which puts him in a really good position to get some really good bat speed through the strike zone. That front foot gets down before the pitcher even releases the baseball. Watch that front foot. He learned that from Rudy Jaramillo, who was an outstanding batting coach for the Texas Rangers for a number of years. Here's that front foot. He gets it right out there. Now he's ready to go, and the pitcher really hasn't delivered the ball yet. Fastball's no problem for Ian, but every now and then you get fooled with a breaking ball when your approach is the one that Ian has.
Hammered to center field on a line and caught by Eaton. There are 2 gone. It'll bring up Miguel Cabrera. It is unlikely that Cabrera will play tomorrow. It is unlikely as well that Victor Martinez will play. It looks like Victor's season may be done. He's been bothered by a quad injury.
It's also very unlikely that Xander Bogaerts of the Boston Red Sox is going to catch Miguel Cabrera as far as the batting title is concerned.
Xander Bogaerts would have to go 12 for 12 in the game tonight. Miggy looks at a ball low.
Now, I'll bet my house that he doesn't do that.
You won't even bet mine. You'll bet yours on that one.
I'll bet mine on that.
1 ball, no strikes. And Cabrera takes a strike on the inside part of the plate. Miguel was 1 for 7 in the Texas series. Did not play last night. Now Johnson takes home a breaking ball and a swing and a miss.
Real good curveball there thrown by Johnson at 75 miles an hour. He doesn't like his curve that much. He is more sliders and more changeups when he goes to his off-speed pitches.
Often wonder if it's tougher to throw the breaking ball in weather like this when it's chilly.
Yeah, and not only that, Mario, but it's kind of misty here this evening, so that means that ball is going to be a little slippery, and then you add in the cold weather, and it might be a difficult night for guys that really rely on their breaking ball.
There's a base hit to left field for Cabrera. So Miguel is aboard with a 2-out hit.
See, Johnson made his mistake by showing Miguel the curveball earlier in the count. When you go up against the best hitter on the planet, you can't show him the same pitch twice in an at-bat. He fooled Miggy badly on the previous pitch a couple of pitches ago, and then he comes back with that same breaking ball, and Miguel was waiting for him.
The Tigers have their first base runner of the night. That'll bring up J.D. Martinez. J.D. DHing tonight. Foul that one back out of play. J.D. is trying to get to 40 home runs this year. He sits at 38 right now, but the impressive thing, he is 4th in the American League in total bases.
He's done a lot of damage. Major damage. Hits the ball as hard as any player in the American League.
The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike on Martinez. The last Tigers outfielder to cross the 100 RBI threshold was Maglio Ordonez in 2008. Headed back to the seats and to be out of the reach of Abreu. We got some party souls in the ballpark tonight, man. Their team is out of it. This is pretty much winding down the season. It's chilly, it's misty. Bring your jacket, bring your hoodie, and you're good to go.
And they're having a lot of fun too down there.
The hot chocolate vendor, I'm sure, is doing quite well tonight.
A couple of those beanies, those Tigers beanies.
Yeah. Now Martinez will step out. Wind once again appears to be blowing out to right field as it was at the start of the ball game last night.
Them folks up there, they don't have nobody bothering them tonight.
There's a strike called, got him looking, and Martinez is out of there. 2 strikeouts for Johnson. No runs, a hit, 1 left. Here comes Verlander.
Verlander, presented tonight by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Justin looking to finish up strong. He has won 5 games this year, looking for win number 6, but that doesn't really tell the entire story. 9 of his last 10 starts have been quality starts, and the velocity on the fastball is getting up to 96, 97, and even 98.
Here is the starting lineup for the White Sox, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. It'll be Eaton, Abreu, Cabrera at the top. They have Thompson, Ramirez, Brantley in the middle tonight. Garcia playing in right field, then Oltz and Sanchez, your bottom 3 for Chicago. And JV goes to work here in the bottom of the first. Adam Eaton starts it off with an 8-game hitting streak for the White Sox. It was 2 out of 3 last night. Had the big double that drove in a couple of runs, and actually that turned out to be the game-winning hit.
Eaton got off to a miserable start this year for his club in that leadoff spot, but the last couple of months, man, has he perked up, and he's had a decent year.
Well, when you look at the White Sox, and certainly they struggled early. Melky Cabrera was not hitting early. Eaton was not hitting early. I mean, it's nice that these guys have come on late in the season, but I'm sure Robin Ventura wants a complete year out of it.
You know, I think he's going to get that next year. They made a lot of additions at the beginning of this season. Sometimes it takes a year for those additions to really get into the clubhouse and for the chemistry to mesh, and I think they're going to be a real good team next year. I think the Tigers obviously are going to be a whole lot better too.
Eaton batting .286 in the final month of the year, .376. That's how good he's been. Robin Ventura on the right. Fouled away. 1-2 the count stays.
And Robin Ventura was told yesterday that he is going to be their manager next year, so I'm sure that he's pleased about that.
There are the numbers on Ventura. 4th season as the skipper of the White Sox. .296 and .350 is his record overall. Another foul back to the screen.
Todd Steverson, the former Tiger, also standing there next to Robin Ventura, is going to return for his 3rd year as their hitting coach. He's the main guy that he wants those hitters to get on track early next season.
Breaking ball bouncing in, and the count levels now 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Verlander fastball, curveball, changeup, slider. Thrown more sliders this year than he's ever thrown, and it's been an outstanding pitch for him. Lots of backdoor sliders to the left-handed batters, and that's really elevated his numbers in the last couple of months.
Slice to center, base hit. Little soft serve out there by Eaton, and the leadoff man is on for Chicago.
And there's one of those backdoor sliders. But let's take a look at our Bell Tire pitch by pitch. The last 2 times these 2 guys hooked up, that would be Abreu and Verlander. And Verlander, boy, he carved him up nicely. Nice breaking ball, fastball up, and then he finished him off with another piece of cheese. Now watch these 2 back-to-back breaking balls, and then he threw him a slider, and I've never seen Abreu look like this. Ooh, that was ugly. Too easy.
Well, here he is, Abreu, batting in the 2 spot, 5-game history. 8 for 18, a couple of homers career against Verlander. He fouls it away 0-1.
He, along with Albert Pujols, are the only 2 players in the history of the game in their first 2 major league seasons to hit 30 homers and drive in 100 runs. That is awfully special company.
Only 2 guys have done that
in the history.
I would not have guessed that. But it's always good to be in the company of Albert Pujols. Speaking of which, see what the Angels did today?
Oh, my goodness. I couldn't turn the channel. It was amazing.
Well, the pennant race is really coming down to the stretch in the West and the wild card in the American League. Good stuff.
The Angels were down 5-1 early to the Texas Rangers at one point. Then they trailed 10-6 going into the 9th inning, and the Angels scored 5 runs against what started out as their closer, Tolleson. It's amazing.
The Twins were eliminated today. They were defeated, so they are out.
What a year they had. Nothing to hang their heads about.
Really good year, and you expect they will be better next year. Meanwhile, the count is 1-1 on Jose Abreu. Eaton will run, 17 steals.
Verlander, good pickoff moves, which makes it sometimes difficult for guys to get great jumps against him.
Runner goes. Popped up. Shortstop Machado to the grass. Now back to the dirt. Boy, the wind got a hold of that one.
Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense. It's presented by Beaumont Health. Moya is playing in right field tonight. Goes in center field. Collins, he's in right. Castellanos, Machado, Kinsler, Miggy in the infield. Avila, he is the catcher. 3.10 ERA with Avila behind the plate for Justin Verlander. 3.77 otherwise.
Pretty good if he getting a call today. I thought he might start the ball game tomorrow, being the Tigers' last game of the year. But Brad's got him out there tonight.
I think Alex requested, did he, that he get a chance to catch Justin Verlander here.
Okay, that makes sense.
A lot of anticipation and people talking about this could possibly be Alex's last game in a Tigers uniform. Boy, I sure hope not. I just have adored watching him play in a Detroit Tigers uniform. And if he's going to run here, a little note on Avila: since the beginning of the 2010 season, 120 catcher caught stealing while in the big leagues. That's number one.
Ball missing outside. 1-0 on Melky Cabrera. Cabrera, the DH, was 0 for 4 last night. Still has hit safely in 4 of his last 5 games. A little bit outside, and the count goes 2-0. Melky's been around with a lot of different ball clubs. Started with the Yankees, went to Atlanta, was playing in San Francisco in the 2012 season, the year the Giants beat the Tigers in the World Series, but he was suspended for PED use and was not in the postseason roster. KC, Toronto, his other stops.
He's always been able to hit. He's a switch hitter. Not huge power, but really good hand-eye coordination. He's beat up on the Tigers a lot in his career.
Here's the throw to second base. Not in time. It's high. Eaton with a steal. That is his 18th of the year.
Adam Eaton had a pretty good jump. It's a fastball that was down. Alex was able to recover and fire down to second base, but not before Eaton was sliding in safely.
Number 18 for Adam Eaton puts him in a scoring position with a 3-0 count on Melky Cabrera. He'll take all the way. It's strike 3-1.
Eaton is 2 of 4 in career steals of third base, but very unlikely that he would attempt to steal in this particular situation with a left-handed batter and standing in the batter's box.
Line drive down the right field line. Going to go to the corner and score a run. Eaton coming around. Cabrera is on his way to second, and he's going to stop with a double. So 1 out, 2 base hit for Melky Cabrera, and it's 1-0 Chicago.
Not a bad pitch by Verlander. It appeared to be a changeup that was down. Outstanding piece of hitting by Cabrera. Went down to the bottom of the strike zone and got it. You see Joe McEwing, their third base coach, waving Eaton home.
That'll be the 77th RBI of the year for Melky Cabrera. And here is Trace Thompson. Justin fell behind. Cabrera ended up paying for it. Thompson hitting .302, 5 home runs this year. We'll talk about his family genes. Of course, Michael Thompson, NBA star. Brother Clay plays for the Warriors. Trace last night was 0 for 3. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Trace was also an outstanding basketball player, as you could imagine, in high school, but he elected to go a different route, not the same route that his brother and his father took, and playing in the NBA. He's always been very fond of baseball. Wanted to create his own legacy.
Nothing wrong with that. Verlander with the 0-2. Fouled away. There's one more to go tomorrow between these two teams. The Tigers lead the series by a game, 9-8. It's the season series, and they're trying to win here tonight, win tomorrow. The Tigers haven't lost a season series to the White Sox since 2008. Low, 1-2.
Verlander can go a couple different ways here against the rookie Thompson. He can simply go upstairs around the letters with a firm fastball at 95 and get a swing and miss, or one of his 3 off-speed pitches, curveball, slider, or changeup. Went slider, and Thompson laid off of it. That pitch has really evolved for Justin here in 2015. It has become a really usable pitch for him, that slider, whereas in the past it's been his curveball and his changeup.
Cabrera, the runner at second, only 1 out and a run in for Chicago. And he checked it low and away. Now the count goes 3-2.
Here's some more data on that Verlander slider that he has thrown on the last 2 pitches to Thompson. 17% and nearly using that slider this year, which is a career high. And you can see that bottom note, the batting average against that pitch is just a shade over 200.
Strike called, and Thompson is caught looking. First strikeout of the ball game for Justin.
The previous 2 pitches were sliders to Thompson, and apparently he was looking for another slider because he took the fastball that could have been questionable. It was down, but with 2 strikes, you at least have to offer at it.
Here is Alexei Ramirez. Ramirez, a 4-game hitting streak, was 1 for 4 in the opener last night.
Loves to swing at the first pitch. That's why Justin threw a breaking ball.
Do you remember when Justin Verlander initially started throwing that slider? Because when he came up, he basically was fastball, curveball, changeup.
Yeah, I do. I really do. I remember it like it was yesterday. And Justin will never admit to this, but I saw him talking to Zach Greinke. This was like in 2011 or something like that. And I could see them kind of talking about the slider. Greinke had pitched against the Tigers the night before and just dominated the Tigers hitters. And then after that, all of a sudden, Justin started throwing sliders. And it's kind of evolved the next few years, 12, 13, 14, until the slider he has here today.
Well, the fastball, the curve, and the change were considered above average major league pitches. And as you mentioned, the slider really is kind of taken on a life of its own. It has evolved.
Yeah, it's up there now.
Here's the 1-1. Low, 2-1.
If you have one good pitch, you can get by in the big leagues and occasionally win. 2 really good pitches and you could be a really big winner. 3, you could be dominant. If you have that 4th pitch, that's when you're talking about Cy Young caliber kind of guys. Greinke, Verlander, he's 1-1.
Now the 2-1. Ramirez awkward swing. And it's 2-2 on Alexei. RBI double by Melky Cabrera here in the first inning.
Ooh, that was an awkward looking swing.
Ramirez hit .310 over his last 29 games. Fouled away.
They're making him work awfully hard here in the first. Justin Verlander's already thrown 27 pitches.
And even on a chilly night, that pitch count much too high than at least they would hope for here in the first. Verlander's the only guy in the field without sleeves. That's got to be a comfort thing for a pitcher, I would think.
It's a comfort thing, and also pitchers are moving out there more so than the defenders are right now. So he probably is able to get a pretty nice lather, even though it's chilly out there.
This one might find the seats. Miggy will watch it head about 4 rows back. Two and 2 on Ramirez, all wrapped up with his armor on that left elbow. It's a very slim, slender build, but you wouldn't be able to tell how much this guy's played every year by his build. I mean, this is a guy that's played over 1,100 games at shortstop. Very durable. Swing and a miss, and Verlander got him to chase, and that'll be it for the White Sox. They get a run, though, on the double by Cabrera. Can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by Kraft, make something amazing. Back here at the Cell, as they call it, on the south side of Chicago. It's 1-0 in favor of the Sox. Tyler Collins leads it off. Against Eric Johnson, it'll be Collins, Castellanos, and Moya. RBI double by Melky. Cabrera makes it 1-0 Chicago. Collins 3 out of 9 in that series against the Rangers. Did not play last night, and he takes ball 1. Missing inside, 2-1 now on Collins. Johnson beat the Tigers back on September the 21st at Comerica Park. Was really good that day. In fact, he racked up 9 strikeouts in that game against the Tigers, 6 strong innings. Here's the 3-1 pitch. In fact, Johnson has given up 3 or fewer runs in all 5 of his big league starts this year. There's that start against the Tigers, tied a career high with 9 punch-outs. Checked it. Did he go? Did not. It'll be ball 4. Leadoff man is on for the Tigers. Hey, by the way, stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we'll select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game, presented by McDonald's Steak and Egg Burritos. Here's Castellanos. Nick was hitless last night, but does have multi-hit games in 6 of his last 10.
And Castellanos should get a pretty good fastball to hit here from Johnson. Anything other than the fastball, if you're Castellanos, you have to be disciplined enough to simply take it. You're looking for one pitch in one zone, and that would be that fastball.
It's in the air toward left, not deep, coming in. Trace Thompson to make the play.
No doubt that Castellanos was sitting on a fastball, but Johnson elected to throw him a curveball, and you can tell by the swing that Castellanos was fooled, and he was out in front of it. That's probably, Mario, the biggest difference between guys that have been in the big leagues for 5, 6, 7 years, and I'm talking about good hitters, not your bad hitters. Guys, and they get themselves in that particular situation, and they know they should get a fastball. They don't swing at the breaking ball. They just don't do it.
Castellanos is out on the front foot, and what resulted was a lazy fly ball. Here is Steven Moya. Well, for Moya, he has had 15 at-bats, 2 out of 15 in the major leagues after his call-up from the minor leagues.
It's got to be tough for Moya. You play every day while you're down in the minor leagues, and all of a sudden you come to the big leagues and your playing time is spotty. Very difficult for a young player to be really productive with limited playing role.
Inside out swing, fouls it back, 0-1.
He is still a huge prospect in the Tigers system. A lot of power, very strong throwing arm, great baseball body.
Well, he had a lot of extra base hits again this year down at AAA. He had 30 doubles and 20 homers, and he hit 240, so the average was low.
That adds up to 50.
That's a lot. Swing and a miss. Started the year with that plantar fasciitis and really kind of put him behind the 8 ball early, but then eventually made his way to AAA.
As a matter of fact, this is his first start on this road trip.
Well, Brad picked a chilly night to throw him out there.
He's young.
Lifted back out of play. Now that I think about it, wasn't Moya? He was up here in September last year, so
yes,
he had to go through the rookie hazing 2 years in a row.
Yes, he did.
Talked about it last night. It was rookie dress up coming in Chicago after that series in Texas. Well, Moya had to do it last year and this year as well. He is still considered a rookie. And a toss back to first. Johnson, 25 years old, was the International League Pitcher of the Year. Won 11 ball games this year. His ERA was 2.37. One and two. And he was striking out a lot of guys down at AAA, about 9 per 9.
He has probably shown enough in the month of September, because it's not his first time in the big leagues, that possibly after the year he had in AAA, he might just start the season in their rotation in 2016.
Hit hard back up the middle into center field. That's a base hit. Collins will hold at second. 2 men on for the Tigers.
You know, we talk a lot about Jose Iglesias and what he has meant to this Tigers team the first month of the year, 5 months of the year defensively. But how about this play last night by Machado? I mean, the one guy that you can see making that play in your mind is Derek Jeter, who did it time and time and time again for the New York Yankees during his 20 years in the majors.
It's pretty impressive arm strength there. And we've known that Dixon has been an above average defender. That was the book on him coming up through the minor league system.
He turned around a Sale 98-mile-per-hour fastball last night, too, for a base hit.
Pretty impressive. Dixon getting some valuable playing time here down the stretch with the injury to Iglesias. In fact, Machado has made quite a few starts in his stead. There's a ball outside.
Had a nice conversation with Dixon in the lobby of the hotel in Texas, and he said once the season is over tomorrow, which will be October 4th. He will be playing in winter ball on the 7th of October in Caracas, Venezuela, as their starting shortstop. Said he's probably going to play about 5-6 weeks, and then some of the other more established shortstops in the big leagues will probably take over.
2 balls, 1 strike. Dixon. How are major league players placed in winter ball? Do most teams just have certain working relationships with certain teams?
You mean the players?
Players themselves.
I think most of the players, I'm not quite sure totally, but usually guys that live in certain areas, they tend to play for the teams where they live.
Right.
And then there's some kind of draft system too, as to, you could be drafted by certain teams as young players. So you can play for different teams, but most of your veteran players, they usually play for their hometown teams.
This looks like a double play, and it is sharply hit to Ramirez. A 6-4-3 to end the Tigers' threat. No runs, taking a walk, a single, and they leave a man.
Of a miracle, for every dreamer, a dream were unstoppable, with something to believe in.
Well, Justin Verlander trails this one by a score of 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the second. And since July the 24th, these ranks have been really, well, Justin Verlander-like.
Well, not many better. Earned run average outstanding. He's been going out there and pitching at least 7 innings every start. Opponent's batting average at 206.
First one home is a strike call to Rob Brantley, the catcher. Brantley, Garcia, and then Mike Olds here in the home half of the second. A 154 average for the former Tigers farmhand, Rob Brantley. Fouled away 0-2. Brantley called up on September the 1st, had a pretty good season in the minor leagues, hit .310 with 8 home runs. Now the 0-2. Little chopper to the second baseman. Kinsler on the move. Brantley is out, 1 away. Well, deposits are now being accepted for 2016 Detroit Tigers full and partial season ticket plans. Call 313-471-BALL today or visit Tigers.com. Tigers next year open up on the road and end the season on the road, both National League ballparks.
Open the season in Miami.
and then close it out in Atlanta. Here's Abisail Garcia. You're already making your plans for South Beach, aren't you?
You know it. Suitcase already packed.
You're not denying it. That's pretty good. 1-0 on Garcia, batting .254. Castellanos trying to keep warm. That kind of night. Miami seems like a long way away from here with this weather.
Yes, it does. White Sox still waiting for Garcia to take that next step. When they made that trade and they got him a couple of years ago, they felt like he was going to be a perennial all-star. He still has a wealth of talent. He's got some power, great throwing arm. He's got some speed, but it just really hasn't put it all together for a full season, but he's still young.
Yeah, his numbers have been okay. I mean, you know, the one thing you talked about is his arm. He does have 17 outfield assists, which does lead the American League.
It makes you wonder what they're going to do next year with the emergence of the youngster Trace Thompson. Eaton, he's anchored in center field.
Oh, Verlander kicked it. Oh, my goodness. Garcia will hold at first base.
Justin Verlander had way too much time to make that play, and he just rushed. I mean, it's that simple.
Well, the Tigers have been kicking around the baseball here on this road trip.
I mean, he had a whole lot of time. He just created a real bad hop, and then once the ball was missed with the glove, he kicked the goal.
Yeah, pretty much. So the White Sox have 1 on, 1 out. Third baseman Mike Olt steps in. 1 on Olt, who is a one-time first-round draft choice of the Texas Rangers, who put up some pretty good power numbers in the minor leagues. Claimed off the waiver wire from the Chicago Cubs. That was on September the 5th. Told you this the last time we played the White Sox that Olt is the only player in the history of baseball that has hit a home run for both the Cubs and the White Sox in the same season, happening this year.
It's pretty impressive.
He was a first rounder in 2010 of the Rangers. I think Olt is a pretty good example of why sometimes prospects are just that. They're prospects until they come to the big leagues and prove they can play at this level, because Olt, coming up through the minor leagues, was a big-time prospect.
The jump from AAA to the big leagues is huge. Unlike A-ball to AA, AA to AAA. Oh, my goodness.
Man, that'll get away from Avila, go to the backstop.
I don't know how in the world that Olt was able to get away from that fastball that apparently slipped out of Justin's hand and tailed in toward the head of Olt.
Wild pitch moves him up. RBI chance now for Mike Olt. Sox lead 1-0. We're in the bottom of the second in Chicago. And a strike call to the outside corner, and Olt doesn't like it at all.
Fastball up and into Olt on the previous pitch, and then Verlander comes back with a real nice breaking ball. That would be the slider. And then Olt thought was low. But Mr. Foxtrack says it crossed the strike zone at the knees. It's not where the catcher catches the ball. It's where it crosses home plate.
There's Carlos Sanchez with 2 outs.
And so far, Justin Verlander throwing a lot of off-speed pitches. And 56% of the 40 that he has thrown have been off-speed. Only 44% that heater. And there's another one. He's fallen in love with that slider.
A lot of them. Sanchez has not been a good matchup. Well, Verlander's not been a good matchup for Sanchez, I should say. In fact, he's 0 for 6 with 3 of those at bats resulting in a strikeout. He's trying to score Garcia from second. One thing we do know about Sanchez, he can play him some second base, man. He's been really good at that position.
Yeah, they rave about him defensively.
Little chopper to second base. Kinsler charging. And the threat is over. No runs, an error, one man left. Tigers baseball from Chicago tonight, presented by Bell Tire. The sell, and how about Chris Sale yesterday become the all-time single-season strikeout leader in Sox history.
Take a look at how many innings Mr. Walsh threw in 1908. He threw 464 innings. How about that?
So he made 49 starts and won 40 of them.
And Chris Sale, who threw 208, is going to finish with that number in 2/3, was able to surpass him with the 274 strikeouts, which is new franchise high.
Throw 464 innings.
I don't know.
Here's Alex Avila, who leads it off. Brings us to the Bernstein advantage. Man, as he had the advantage on Eric Johnson, he is 5 for 5 against him.
With a double, a homer, and 3 steaks.
Foul back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike on Avila. He'll be followed by Gose and then Kinsler as we play here in the third. The numbers on Avila this year, 194.
Good career numbers here at the Sale. And nearly 300.
Remember a couple of years ago, Avila was catching a game here in Chicago and he took a foul tip. You could actually see sparks coming off his mask.
I do remember that.
Something we had never seen before. That was in the stretch where Avila was just getting seemingly hammered every night with foul balls. He'll go foul down the left field line.
Tough kid, never complained.
Avila certainly has not been able to live up to the numbers of his all-star season when he first got to the big leagues, but there's been no denying his effect on the pitching staff. He's going to hammer that one to right field, but it's going to drop into the glove of Garcia.
A good swing there by Alex.
1 gone here in the top of the third. Back up to Anthony Gose. Gose strikeout in the first inning. Anthony playing in a career-high 138 games this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, here are some of the thresholds that Ghost has been able to reach this year. Career highs in all of these categories.
That on-base percentage is up to .321 right now. And that's because he's gotten it up to about .370, the on-base percentage his last 25 games or so. So that's a number that would be very important for him in 2016, getting on base and then stealing some bags.
Swing and a miss. Goes out on strikes for the second time in the game.
Verlander has thrown a lot of breaking balls in this game. However, his counterpart, Eric Johnson, he's thrown a lot of fastballs. That fastball at 92, right down the middle.
Here is Ian Kinsler. That was the third strikeout of the game for Johnson.
86% of the total 51 pitches that Johnson has thrown so far this evening have been fastballs. 86%.
Into right field, playable for Garcia, and it's going to be an easy 1-2-3 for Johnson.
On August 26th, one of the highlights of this season for the Tigers, Justin Verlander nearly threw a no-hitter against the Los Angeles Angels. One measly hit. Chris Iannetta got chopped. Got some chop down that left field line. Of course, Verlander was going to win that game, but he lost that no-hitter real late.
Tigers nearly had a couple of no-hitters this year. That combined no-hitter that was lost late in the ninth inning as well. And JV's 112 pitches on the 26th against the Angels.
He was must-see TV that night. Really, he's been must-see TV the last 2 months.
2 no-hitters in his collection and nearly a third. Here is Adam Eaton, the leadoff man, as we go to the bottom of the third here in Chicago. White Sox lead 1-0. JV missing inside 1-0. Eaton had a single, stole a base, scored a run on the double by Melky Cabrera. One and one. Eaton now stretching his hitting streak to 9 consecutive games.
One thing that Verlander has always had since coming to the big leagues is a really nice, smooth, easy delivery. Effortless. And that's what allowed him to get up to 100 miles an hour in his heyday. And it's really allowed him to get that velocity back up in his last few outings now that he's healthy.
Sometimes you'll see guys that throw upper 90s and into the 100s, but they're max effort guys. Verlander smooth as silk, and there's a base hit to left.
Here's that smooth delivery I'm talking about, Verlander. The velocity of the fastball getting back up to what we've been able to watch the last number of years. 98. 98. He got up to 99 as well against the White Sox. Another one here. And then this was very impressive just a few days ago. This was the fourth inning. In Texas, bases loaded. Verlander reached back again to get out of that jam. And that's vintage Justin Verlander. That's the guy we watched throughout his entire major league career until some of the injuries started to crop up.
All right, so going into the offseason, you got JV at the top of your rotation. You probably have Daniel Norris, I would think.
He's in
rotation. He's in there. You got Sanchez coming back from injury.
For sure.
So there's 3. Now, is Matt Boyd in your rotation next year?
I think that they're going to go out and get 2 really good starting pitchers to anchor the rotation.
Kind of like they did this year.
Nothing against Matt Boyd. Nothing against any of the other kids that are coming, Fulmer, or any of the other young talent that they have. But I know for a fact they're going to go out and they're going to make a play for some nice starting pitching in the offseason along with the bullpen.
And it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if you're Fulmer or Boyd to get a little bit more season.
Not at all. Not at all.
We have not seen Fulmer. He was at AA this year after coming over in the trade for Cespedes.
I mean, this team is still built to win with guys like Miguel. You've got J.D. Martinez in the prime of his career. Kinsler, still very valuable. Iglesias, outstanding at the shortstop position. James McCann. They are not that far off from getting this thing back on track. And it all starts with pitching. And the defense has been very good this year with the exception of the last 10 games.
Get away from Avila. Runner trying to advance. The throw is going to be in time. Eaton is out at second.
Eaton last night was able to advance on a wild pitch that trickled just a couple of steps away from the rookie catcher James McCann. But he wasn't fortunate this time. He got a late break. He didn't get a good break this time. He was going back to the bag, and then he was uncertain whether he should go or not. And that uncertainty cost him an out. He should have just stayed at first.
Yeah, by that point, all of his momentum was back to the bag at first base. And just pulled foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jose Abreu, who popped up in his only at bat. Abreu over his first 2 seasons in the major leagues, 208 RBIs. That's the most of any White Sox hitter in the history of their organization in the first 2 years of a career.
And they've had some really good players come through the south side of Chicago. Guys like Frank Thomas, who was spectacular. Harold Baines was outstanding in a White Sox uniform. Came up very young.
Swing and a miss. It got away from Avila. Abreu was looking the other way. He'll be an easy out. 2 away. Time for a game break now. Justin White. It was something to watch and to behold today, and good luck trying to figure out the American League West and the wild card in the American League, the second wild card. We had a couple of teams in play. The Angels are 2 back, so they are looking for a wild card spot. They're going to need some help, but boy, that win today was just wild. September, make it October baseball.
Baseball gods took care of the Angels today. Odor, the second baseman of the Texas Rangers, had a horrible slide today and nearly killed Giavitelli. And ironically, Giavitelli would come back and get the game-winning hit today. How about that?
Yeah, Giavitelli took a hard late slide. In fact, took some cleats in his shin as well. It was a bad slide.
It was one of the worst slides I've seen, really. It was a bad slide by Odor.
It was horrible. Here's the 1-1.
I mean, I get trying to break up a double play. I mean, but that particular slide is hard to imagine.
1-2 the count on Melky Cabrera. We're in Chicago tonight. The Tigers' final series of the season here in chilly Chicago. Jackets aren't enough tonight. You got to bring the blankets. That dives low. 2-2.
Daddy's little girls will spoil you, don't they?
Yep. Bundled up. Two balls, two strikes. 2 out, nobody on. Third inning. Ooh, swing and a miss.
Good for him.
JV now with 5 strikeouts.
I see.
That'll be it for the Chicago White Sox. 3 in the books. And it's still 1-0 Sox. We go to the 4th. Miguel Cabrera and J.D. Martinez, Tyler Collins. Middle of the Tigers lineup here tonight against Johnson, who delivers ball 1 to Cabrera. Miguel had a single in the first inning. Tigers then got a walk and a single in the second, but then a double play ended that frame.
No profanity.
1 ball and 1 strike. 2-1 now on Miguel. Cabrera has not homered since August 26th. That was against the Angels at home.
It's the longest drought in his career, isn't it? Second longest drought.
120 consecutive plate appearances without a home run.
Well, closing in on that one.
Unless he hits one right here, he will equal it. 3-1. Cabrera is closing in on the batting title. Would be his 4th. Line drive. Nice stab down at second base by Sanchez. Took a base hit away. 1 out.
It's a fastball that's down. 3-1 count. Mickey goes down to get it. And the ball stays on the line, although it's only about 3 feet off the ground until it gets into the glove of the second baseman, Sanchez.
J.D. Martinez looks at ball 1. J.D. now is 0 for 4 in the series, a strikeout in the first. Pulled to third, fair ball. Down the line, extra bases. Martinez motoring towards second. Thompson will get it back in. It's a 1-out double.
Mario, there's not another guy in the American League that hits the ball as hard as J.D. Martinez. I mean, when he barrels it up, I mean, it's a totally different sound coming off his bat. That's a hanging breaking ball that he got out in front of and simply ripped it right past their third baseman, Mike Olds.
Kind of reminiscent of the ball he hit last night in the 8th inning with a runner at third, the tying run. He had a bullet down the third base line that Saladino made a great play on.
Yeah, that was an 0-2 pitch as well. Tyler had a real nice series in Texas, as you mentioned, and playing in front of a lot of families and friends. He showed out. Homer, a couple extra base hits. Brian Holiday also played well in Texas in front of family and friends, as did Verhagen. All three from that area.
This month, 292. I would say September, but as you pointed out last night, it's October.
So with a salary drive. September, October, doesn't matter. Salary drive.
1-1 is popped up, and I mean straight up. Who wants it? Abreu. Man, the wind took that one. That was a tough play for Abreu. Runner will hold it second. That's why it was a tough play.
Collins also dropped the bat right there where Abreu had to run over. I mean, that could have been very dangerous for Abreu, who already battles bad ankles anyway.
2 down for Castellanos. Flat out to left field. That was back in the second. Strike one to Nick. He's had a couple of highlights this year, including first 2 grand slams of his career. Castellanos with 15 totals, homers this year, I should say, total, and 72 driven in, which is representing a career high in both of those categories. The 0-1 pitch, lifted in the air to center. It's going to be playable for Adam Eaton, and the Tigers will waste the 1-out double. No runs, 1 man left. Comes the bottom of the 4th.
Has in the last couple of months. A lot of breaking balls. 55% of the pitches thrown to not have been heaters. He's mixing some fastballs as well. He's gotten all the way up to 95 miles an hour, and the Tigers ace. Well, he looks like that ace again.
Verlander allowed a single in the first, a steal and a double. That's Bennett. 5 strikeouts, a couple on the ground, 1 in the air. And Justin goes back to work in the 4th, facing Trace Thompson. Alexei Ramirez and Rob Brantley. 1 run, 3 hits for the White Sox. No runs, 3 hits for the Tigers. Strike 1 on Trace Thompson, who fanned in the first inning, was caught looking actually.
Another one of those sliders that Justin has been featuring a lot of tonight against a lot of these right-handed batters that Robin Ventura, the manager, has in his starting lineup. Comes another one.
Pulled on the ground to third, straight at Castellanos. 1 away in the 4th inning. Thompson now is 0 for 2. There's Alexei Ramirez. Justin, as you might expect, has seen the White Sox a lot over his career. He is 18-13 lifetime versus Chicago. ERA of 3.97. Strike 1 on Ramirez. Alexei in his career with 109 home runs. Only Jose Valentin has hit more as a shortstop for the White Sox in their history. 136 for Valentin. Although the power numbers were much better earlier in his career. One ball, 1 strike.
And Verlander had some words for Adrian Johnson. He knew that was a strike and told Adrian Johnson as much. And Mr. Foxtrack backed him up.
Yeah. Here's the 1-1. Justin, quality starts in 11 of his last 13. Gave up the 1 run in the first inning tonight, nothing after that. Here's the 2-1. Softly hit to the shortstop, to his left, Machado. 2 up, 2 down, couple of ground ball outs. Well, you know what October means. It means baseball, and FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action with the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama and history. It all begins Thursday on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Two outs now for Brantley. Fouled straight back. This is playoff type weather, to be sure. The temperature right now is 48 degrees here at U.S. Cellular Field. Wind howling as well. Oh, what do you got with this?
What is?
I don't know. Is that the Easter Bunny? Bouncer to first base. That'll be an easy play for Cabrera.
Bet it's warm, whatever it is.
Probably. A 3 unassisted ends the inning. 1, 2, 3, they go. 24 years old, Mr. Moya Fulmer, at age 22 is on that list. And, of course, he came over in the deal.
Tigers were able to replenish their minor league system with some of the deals they made at the trade deadline. Luis Cessa, Jacoby Jones from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Of course, they have Daniel Norris already here with Matthew Boyd. They made some nice additions, some youth at the deadline.
Replenished, a good word to use. Popped up left side, caught by the third baseman Old, one gone.
Johnson still throwing a lot of fastballs at the Tigers here tonight.
And that will bring up the number 8 hitter, Dixon Machado. .250 on the year for Dixon. Bounced into a double play. Hard hit ball. The Tigers had their best scoring chance, or one of them at least. Runners at first and second with one out, and Machado scalded one to Alexei Ramirez. It's in the air to right field, slicing on Garcia, 2 gone. And now Avila. We mentioned Johnson pitched well against the Tigers the first time he saw him. The strikeouts not really as many as he had on that day, 9 punch outs, but he has only 3 so far tonight. Alex flying out to right field, hit the ball hard, straight at Garcia. Strike 1 on Alex. Popped up. Left side of the infield, foul ground. And the catcher Brantley makes the play, a 1-2-3 inning. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. .1933. Your boy Jake Arrieta's at the top of that list.
Yeah, I'm going to claim him, too, for sure. Yeah, remarkable what he's done this year. In .75, I mean, look at the names on the list, though. I mean, you got Seaver, you've got Gibson, you got that year that Johan had in 2004. Arrieta, this season, just simply dominant, really, but it doesn't start there, Mario. If you go back to July of last year, he has been unbelievable as a starting pitcher.
All right, so go ahead, ask me the question.
Who you got for the Cy Young in the National League right now?
Simo back at the studio is not going to be happy with me because I was in Simo's camp with Greinke, but now I'm going to side with you. I can go with Arrieta. I'm going to go with him.
I don't know who's going to win it, man, but it's kind of hard not for them to give it to Arrieta. I know Greinke has been tremendous, and then you have Kershaw, who has been outstanding as well, and it's just been, I mean, really you can't go wrong with either guy.
He's going to drop in for a base hit for Garcia. Leadoff man on. Well, two guys for sure are going to be real disappointed once the winner is named.
I mean, really, look at the 2.16 ERA of Kershaw with 294 strikeouts, nearly 300 strikeouts. Greinke's only lost 3 games, and he has a better ERA than Arrieta. But Arrieta 22-6 with 20 in a row as far as consecutive starts with quality starts. Just amazing year.
He has really carried that staff and carried that team. There's a foul at home plate. 0-1 the count on Mike Olds.
And we're looking at a former Cy Young Award winner who's been pitching like he's got another Cy Young in his future, and that would be Justin Verlander.
Well, the last 10 have been awfully good for JV.
Chris Sale, he was last night, and we made mention of the fact that he might have a Cy Young in his future with his stuff. But you know what? As good as a lot of these pitchers are, the offensive numbers have gone up in baseball the second half of this year with the infusion of that young talent all over baseball. Offensive numbers better this year, second half of the year, than they've been in a long, long time.
What is it about this year and all the young guys that have come to the big leagues not only have played well but made a major impact?
Dude, they're stars. I mean, we're talking about guys that are going to be perennial all-stars and some potential MVP candidates in the future of all the talent.
And you're talking about guys like Lindor, Correa. I mean, they're 21, 22, 23.
Brian Schwarber in Chicago. Sano in Minnesota. It's amazing the talent that's come up this year.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Mike Olds.
And you still have the young guys like Bogarts, who we're not even talking about. He's only 22, 23 years old, too.
No doubt.
Baseball is in good shape.
Here's the 1-2. Old would not chase. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Justin gave up the bloop single to Garcia here in the 5th. It is 1-0 Chicago. They got a run in the first, and so far it has held up. That has been it. And there are the numbers on JV. 70 now in the pitch count. Garcia has stolen 7 this year, but he's also been caught 7 times. Green 2. Verlander in his 10th season in the big leagues for the Tigers.
And fastball just a shade off down in the strike zone.
Last year he threw 200 innings for the 8th straight year. Not going to get there this year because of the injury. Get back out of play. People last year were talking about it being a down year for Verlander, yet he won 15 ball games last season. 7th time in his career he reached that plateau.
That's what happens when you set the bar as high as Justin Verlander set the bar. I mean, he was known as the best pitcher in baseball for about 3 years in a row, and it really wasn't even close.
Runner goes, and a bouncing ball to short. Machado 1 play.
Here's our high-speed pitch, and as always, it is brought to you by Xfinity. 96 top fastball so far thrown by Justin Verlander, but the thing about that is he can reach back to get 98 these days if he wants to.
Carlos Sanchez, the number 9 hitter, stands in, the man in scoring position. Sanchez had that big game against the Tigers on the last homestand. It was 3 for 3, had a double and a homer. Ball 1. And most the Tigers can finish with this year in terms of wins is 75. They came in at 73 and 86. A step back for sure for a ball club that had high hopes coming into the season. Yet when you look at what remains on paper, before they even make any adjustments in the offseason, there's still a pretty good core and a pretty good group here. And it's also a blend, I think, of good young players: Iglesias, McCann, Gose, Castellanos, and good veterans: Martinez, Cabrera.
That's why they called it rebooting. You know, when they decided to trade Price away at the deadline, along with Cespedes and also Soria. Didn't feel like the playoffs were in the cards this year, but they're not far off.
That's why sometimes chemistry, I think, can be underrated, and sometimes parts just don't fit. I mean, they look good, impressive on paper, but then when you get them on the field, for whatever reason this year, it just wasn't a good mix for the Tigers.
And they also lost their top 4 players for some time this year. Miggy, Verlander, Sanchez, all lost this year, along with, what am I missing? Well, Iglesias, Victor.
Iglesias, yeah.
Lost a lot of their guys.
3-1 on Sanchez. Swing and a miss, 3-2. Of course, the Tigers fueled the fire as well early in the season, getting off to that tremendous start that they got off to, and many thought they were just going to absolutely roll, and we did as well.
They were looking that way. Kansas City didn't blink. Kansas City got off to a 7-0 start themselves this year.
They were just as impressive. Fouled away.
Kansas City has beaten the Minnesota Twins in back-to-back games this weekend, so they're still fighting to keep that best record or to retain that best record in the American League.
I was reading an article recently where it said that that little guy doing his best to keep warm.
Yes, he is.
Which said that home field advantage, based on the numbers, and there was a lot of research done, really is not as important as people think in baseball. But when you're talking about places like Rogers Center, I mean, that to me is one of those places that can be intimidating.
Yeah, there 50-something thousand people a night there at Rogers Center. Verlander threw 2 real good fastballs right by Sanchez, one on a 3-1 pitch, and then he finished them off with the 3-2 pitch, fastball at 94. So he's been able to maintain that velocity in the mid-90s all night long. Only stressful inning was the first.
Now Adam Eaton with 2 outs. He's got a couple of hits tonight, both singles. Ball 1. Eaton also has a stolen base. He has now reached base in 22 consecutive games for Chicago.
Eaton has been responsible for really all the scoring the White Sox have done the last 2 nights here. He drove in both of their runs last night, and he has scored the only run of the evening so far. So he just continues to finish strong. He's had a real nice second half.
Well, he needs 2 more runs scored to reach 100 for the year. And the last Chicago White Sox, well, actually a duo, Tommy and Dye, each had 100 runs scored back in 2006.
That's really the one benchmark that leadoff hitters set for themselves at the beginning of the year. They don't really care about the batting average. They don't care about home runs. They just want to touch home plate 100 times. And if they do, then everything else just kind of seems to fall in place.
Strike called, 1-2. Tomey scored 108 runs. Jermaine Dye 103 for that 06 White Sox team. 1 year after they won the World Series. Here's the Tominator. Jermaine Dye right next to him.
Yes, indeed. Dye hit the ball hard. Put up some good numbers in a White Sox uniform. And he probably walked away from the game 2 or 3 years earlier than he should have.
2-2.
Eaton just simply tries to slap the ball the other way. And both of his hits today, left side of the infield, his double in last night's game, split the gap in left center field.
Go dancing there right out of the batter's box. 3-2. Talking about Ray Durham last night, and a really good player here, played second base for many years with the White Sox. He scored 121 back in the 2000 season, but that was as a leadoff hitter. Ooh. Getting on base and stealing some bags too. That'll go foul. It was the last leadoff hitter for the White Sox to get to that 100 plateau. Looks awfully good too when you start talking about contracts too.
Yes, it does.
That's the one number they can look at and say, look at this. The division championships for Chicago 2000, 05, and 08. And then World Series title in 05. Swing and a miss, and Verlander dusted him in 96. JV comes back with a big strikeout. They'll leave a man at second base. We have 5 in the books here in Chicago. At the lowest tire price period, Bell Tire. Myers, save big with M-Perks from Meyer. Sign up at mperks.com. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. Cool and windy here tonight in Chicago. 1-0. Sox have the lead as the Tigers come up here in the 6th inning. They also have the top lineup come up. It'll be Ghost, Kinsler, and Cabrera. Anthony, tough night so far. A couple of strikeouts. This is the 70th pitch thrown by Johnson, their starter. Ball 2 on Ghost.
He's been able to get away with fastballs anywhere from 88 to 92 miles an hour all night long. The Tigers really have not been able to barrel him up. consistently.
And he's gone to 3-0. Johnson last year coming into the season was ranked the second best prospect in the Sox organization, but he struggled early on. His ERA was around 6. There's ball 4. He has walked Ghost to lead off the 6th inning. Bring up Ian Kinsler. Kinsler is 0 for 2. Fly out to center, fly out to right. The average now at 298. Kinsler reaching a milestone earlier this year, his 1500th hit. It was in early September at Cleveland. Way outside, and that's 5 straight now that has missed the strike zone from Johnson. One. 61 multi-hit games this year, and many of those in the second half. You can see the .331 average post All-Star break.
He drove in a lot of runs in the very first half of the season, but the batting average was really low. And then the hits started falling for Ian in the second half.
1-2.
A good breaking ball there thrown by Johnson. Hasn't thrown that many breaking balls this evening, but that time he had Ian fooled and out in front. Only 19% of his total 76 pitches have been off speed so far tonight.
Again, drilled to center field right at Eaton.
That's a second bullet. And then Ian Kinsler has hit right at their center fielder.
So with 1 out, here is Cabrera. Here are the updated numbers now. Miggy at 335, Bogarts at 321.
Well, Prince Fielder going to hit 300 for the second time in his big league career.
Did with the Tigers, didn't he?
He did. First year with Detroit, he hit over 300.
Gella's going to win his 4th batting title. 4 of them now. The 0-1. High fly ball to center field. Eaton going back to the track, to the wall. He can't get it. It's off the top of the wall and over into the seats. And that's going to be a 2-run shot for Miguel Cabrera.
And his home run drought ends at 121 plate appearances. Miguel didn't even stride when he swung at this ball, and it was all arms, just brute strength to drive the ball over the wall to right center field. He is some kind of strong. Country strong, to be exact.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he is.
You pulling out a country strong?
Yeah, I did. Might as well. We got 2 more days to go. Look at this swing here. All arms. It's amazing how strong he is.
Eaton almost got to that ball.
He got too close to the wall.
That ball's hammered in the air to left, but it's going to stay in the ballpark, and caught there by Thompson.
Eaton probably could have caught this ball, but when he jumped, he was too close to the wall, and he simply jumped right into the fence, so he couldn't elevate. Right there. That ball barely made it over.
It's catchable. Off the top of the wall, back into the seats for a home run, and snaps a 121 plate appearance drought. August the 26th against the Angels, the last home run for Miguel. And it gives the Tigers a 2-1 lead.
Since the 2010 season, Mickey leads the major leagues in runs scored, RBIs, batting average, slugging percentage. And he is second in hits, doubles, and home runs. The entire big leagues for 6 straight years. That's amazing.
It is. It's remarkable consistency.
6 straight years. I mean, the hits and the RBIs, yeah, but more runs than everybody else. His on-base percentage is nearly 500 this season.
Meanwhile, 3-1 on Collins. The home run for Cabrera, his 18th.
And you can arguably say, with 100% certainty, that the last couple of years he really hasn't been 100% healthy.
Oh, no doubt. There's no question about that.
I mean, the ankle injury, then he had the core surgery, then he had his stuff interrupted this year with the calf. It's amazing.
Factor in the fact that he plays not so much a hitter-friendly ballpark either for half the year.
It's a great point.
So Collins aboard with a 2-out walk.
Second time he's walked Collins today.
There's Castellanos. Two fly balls for Castellanos tonight. One to left, one to center.
Anytime you got a guy like Miguel Cabrera on your team, you got a chance to win.
You got a chance. There's a swing and a miss, 0-2. Even a less than 100% Cabrera, always a huge presence in the middle of your lineup. Triple Crown a couple of years ago. Going to win his 4th batting title this year.
Multiple MVPs. Perennial all-star.
One and two on Castellanos.
We were talking about Verlander going to have his 200 inning streak snapped this year. Miguel's not going to drive in 100 runs this year for the first time in the last 12 seasons.
Injury stopping both of those streaks. Also going to snap a streak of 11 consecutive seasons with at least 20 homers and 100 RBI. That one just missed in the count. Levels now 2-2 on Castellanos.
I think Mark Burley of the Toronto Blue Jays said it best when Miguel went down with that calf injury. He said life will be a lot easier for American League pitchers. But the Miguel Cabrera injury is bad for Major League Baseball.
Well, it certainly altered the course of the Tigers season. And he got him strike 3. Castellanos caught looking. However, the Tigers have their first lead of the game. 2-run shot by Miguel Cabrera. And the Tigers have taken a 2-1 lead. He is 2 for 3 tonight. Leads the American League average race by 15 points. Verlander's done the rest.
And Tigers trying to win this series. And with a win here tonight and a win tomorrow, they would not finish in last place in the American League Central.
Here is Jose Abreu. Bends out of the way of a breaking ball. Abreu and then Cabrera and then Trace Thompson. Strikeout pop-up tonight.
Well, Verlander better be careful because now he is barking at Adrian Johnson and Alex Avila doing what a really good catcher should do. He's talking to Adrian Johnson, trying to calm him down a little bit.
JV fired up.
Oh, very much so.
He's had a couple of these tonight that were borderline. It could have been called strikes.
And those are the leadership skills that Avila displays. But the way Verlander's been barking out there, he might not be able to save him.
No.
Much more.
There's only so much you can do.
Yeah. Adrian Johnson clearly missed a couple of them curveballs here tonight. You got to stay with it. And if you're Avila in that particular situation, as calm as you could possibly be, you got to stay with the curveball a little bit more, Adrian, tonight. He's got a good one. Those are a couple that we thought should be good. So do me a favor and just stay with it a little bit longer. I mean, really, that's all you have to say. I'm sure Alex, being respected the way he is in the game, Adrian would probably give him the answer that he wants.
That's it there, a strike, 2-2.
Yeah, he gave him that breaking ball that time. Abreu's had some uncomfortable at-bats against Verlander in his last 5 plate appearances.
I agree.
And Verlander's gotten him a lot of breaking balls and sliders.
He's had some awkward swings. Here's the 2-2. It's in the air to center. Anthony Ghost is under it. Abreu now is 0 for 3 in this game.
Let's take a look at the pitch by pitch at how Verlander continues to attack the very dangerous Abreu. Breaking ball, that's called a ball. Comes back with another breaking ball for a real nice strike, strike 2. Then he changes the eye level with a fastball that's firm and up that Abreu's not able to barrel up. So he's done a real nice number on Abreu this evening.
Melky Cabrera had an RBI double in the first. Scatters that one foul.
You got to be some kind of brave to reach up and catch one of those missiles into the stands here tonight.
Not something I would tell most folks to give a shot at. I mean, it's just too cold. Would not be advised. Unless, of course, you brought your glove. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Double and a strikeout for Melky Cabrera. Justin now at 95 in the pitch count. Through 107 his last time out. He's gone over 100 in every start this year, but 3 of them. I don't think he went, did not. 2-2 on Cabrera. Thompson on deck.
Melky Cabrera has gotten a steady diet of sliders from Verlander in this particular pitch sequence. The last 3 pitches have all been sliders.
Got him, strike 3.
And he throws him with a fastball.
Cabrera disagrees. Doesn't matter, though. 2 outs.
Here's one of the backdoor sliders that Verlander threw here to Cabrera. That one actually bounces down and in. The previous one was a backdoor slider, but then he finishes them off with a fastball after Melky is somewhat looking for another off-speed pitch. 94 right on the inner third of home plate.
Here is Trace Thompson with 2 outs. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
breaking ball is dirty tonight.
Well, it has helped Verlander to 7 strikeouts. They've shortened 5, 6, 7, 8 strikeouts. The 0-1.
Verlander's strikeout high this season is 10, so he's just a couple away from that. It might not get there, though. His pitch count is getting up there.
Daniel Norris will pitch the finale tomorrow. Open in. Frankie Montas will go for the White Sox. It'll be the final game of 2015. Then the offseason is upon us. As you see, Justin now has reached 100.
This might just be his last frame pitching in 2015 unless he lobbies to Brad Ausmus for him to go back out there in the 7th.
Swing and a miss. Tigers lead 2-1 in the home run by Cabrera. They had trailed 1-0 since the first inning. Should Thompson reach? Alexei Ramirez waiting on deck.
The skipper all bundled up tonight. A little chilly down there.
And he lost in ball 4. Time for a game break now. We check in with Justin White. All right, Justin, should the Astros win tonight, they would be 1 game back with 1 to go.
That AL West is wacky right now.
That's what's great about these 2 wild cards. It's really changed the landscape of which teams are alive. Ramirez didn't like that call.
I believe that game today between Texas and the Angels just the start of what's going to be a really fun postseason.
I would agree. You've got some pretty good teams in there, and you've got some teams that were surprises this year.
Some small market teams. There's a lot of parity in the game. The Twins, they stayed in into the final weekend of the year.
What was a bigger surprise for you this year, the Twins or the Astros?
Minnesota.
Yeah, and you know the Twins, they don't have, I think, the frontline talent in the rotation.
They don't.
Or some of the named players that the Astros have, good young players. Strike call. So based on that, would you give Molitor your manager of the year?
I probably would vote for Paul Molitor for manager of the year. I think of all the teams that are in playoff contention, the Minnesota Twins got more out of less than any team.
Yeah, it's a good point. I might have gone with Bannister because they had made the more significant jump in terms of wins and losses from last year. But he's got a really good offense on it.
He had some guys in place. I mean, guys like Beltre and Andrews. And Prince came back healthy. And Chu showed up this year and performed. And you stop thinking about playing under the pressure of that contract.
One and 2 on Alexei Ramirez. Tying run at first with 2 outs. We're in the 6th. Verlander at 106 now, trying to finish off Ramirez, who is 0 for 2, strikeout, ground out. Ooh, he wanted to call it. Verlander was headed back to the dugout, but Adrian Johnson did not give it to him.
Yeah, it's they're not friends tonight. And Verlander and Adrian Johnson.
That one missed, though.
Yeah, he made the right call there.
one that missed outside. 3-2 now. That'll start the runner at first.
We might just see Verlander reach back right here and throw his best fastball of the night. He knows it's probably his last pitch of the night. If it's a strike.
Down the right field line. Moya's on the move, not going to get there. It's going to drop in and score a run. Ramirez on his way to second, and we are tied at 2.
Alexei Ramirez has had a lot of success against Justin Verlander over the years, by and large because they've played in the same division. And that is his 21st base hit against Justin. And there was only a couple more people in baseball that have more hits against Justin than Alexei. Billy Butler would be one of those. That is a fastball at 95 that just sliced the opposite way. Alexei didn't even know where it was. Boy, Boy was really playing over in the left center field gap.
RBI double for Alexei Ramirez. 2-2 ball game. His 33rd double of the year as the Tigers get some activity now. Drew Verhagen warming up.
It's going to take Verhagen a while before he gets loose.
Way inside 1-0 on Brantley. It's the 5th hit of the night for the Sox. They've had a pair of RBI doubles this evening. Brantley trying to give his team the lead. A 2-out walk to Trace Thompson open the door. Brantley originally was a 3rd-round pick of the Tigers back in 2010. He was traded Jacob Turner in the Anibal Sanchez deal a couple of years ago. Strike on the outer edge. And taking the issue with that call is Brantley. .112 now for Verlander. 25 in this inning.
He's had a 23 pitch inning, a 25 pitch inning, and a 29 pitch first inning.
Justin's high water mark this year is 117 back against the Yankees in June. It was his 2nd start off the disabled list. 1-2 on Brantley. Ramirez at second, representing the go-ahead run. Outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Garcia waiting on deck. The foul straight back to the screen.
115 pitches in. Verlander still in the mid-90s as far as the velocity with fastball.
Verlander had retired 10 of 11 before the 2-out walk by Trace Thompson. And he came around to score on the double by Ramirez. Time called as Brantley steps out. And another 2-2 coming home. High 3-2. Here's the full count pitch. Fouled away again. It's turning into a long at bat here for Brantley. Another 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Verlander could not get it by him. Good numbers this year in the minor leagues for Brantley. Hit .310, 8 homers, 38 RBI. Split time between AA and AAA, and he's put together an 8-pitch at bat.
And Verlander could possibly get a strikeout here if he went to his breaking ball. He's had a lot of confidence in his off-speed stuff all night long.
Another foul back out of play.
Yeah, Brantley continues to foul off these mid-90s fastballs. That one a tick above 95. That was 96. 118 thrown here tonight. In Verlander's final start of the 2015 campaign, and now Avila simply going to ask Justin what he wants to throw. And here's one of those situations once Avila gets back behind the plate. He might not even put down a sign because they've already talked about the pitch and the location. That way Ramirez on second base, he can't relay anything to the hitter Brantley.
118 represents a season high for Justin. And another foul back to the screen. Yet another mid-90s fastball. So Brantley put together a whale of an at-bat here.
This is like Justin Verlander back in the day when we used to keep track of his fastballs 95 and above.
He's about to throw his 120th pitch.
He finally threw him a breaking ball, but Brantley was able to foul that one off too.
Seven of his pitches in this at bat have gone 95 or above.
Total for the game, and Verlander has thrown 17 pitches at 95 and above. So 7 of those in this inning, as you mentioned.
Swing and a miss, and he finally got it. So Brantley is out of there, not before they tie it up though on the double by Ramirez.
First, after an Adam Eaton single, it's a double down the corner by Melky Cabrera.
The Tigers, they stayed off the board until the 6th inning, and finally the big fella, he connected for a 2-run shot, but that didn't last very long. After a walk to Trace Thompson with 2 outs, Alexei Ramirez slices a double down in the right field corner to tie the score.
So it's a 2-2 game as we go to the top of the 7th here in Chicago, and it's going to be Steven Moya to start things off. Bottom 3 for the Tigers: Moya, Machado, and Avila facing Johnson, the right-hander. First one is up and outside. 1-0 on Steven Moya. Singled back in the second, 1 for 2 for Moya. And he's going to single into right field here to start things off in the 7th. A 2-hit game for Moya, 1 on, nobody out. Hey, the Detroit Tigers Fantasy Camp is on sale right now. Play baseball with Tigers greats in Lakeland, Florida. This year's camp includes a salute to the 2006 American League champions. For more information, call 313-471-2550 or visit tigers.com. Here's Machado showing bunt. He'll drop one down, fielded by Johnson. And they'll get the runner to move up, sacrifice. Moya into scoring position with 1 out. Looks like there's activity in their bullpen. There is. Petrichka, the right-hander. Duke is the lefty. Robin Ventura making his way out to the mound. He'll take the baseball from Johnson. So we get a pitching change here in Chicago. To say Wallside Windows pitching change. Zach Duke coming in to face him. And of course, he began the season on the disabled list with the triceps problem.
He's healthy. That much we do know. 120 plus pitches tonight for Verlander. First time he's done that since June of 2014. So that's a real good sign going into the offseason. A very healthy Justin Verlander. And looking forward to 2016.
Here's Avila now with the go-ahead run at second, and 1 out. We're in the 7th. Zach Duke is the lefty taking over out of the bullpen.
He's a specialist. He's been in 71 games now for the White Sox out of their bullpen. He has 26 holds. He has a nice ERA at 3.45. He holds left-handed batters to a 185 batting average.
Johnson goes 6 1/3 in this game. Gives way to Duke. Avila is 0 for 2, fly out, foul out.
And they're giving Avila the entire left side of the infield against Duke. Alexei Ramirez, their shortstop, directly behind the second base bag. Oakland is the only member of their defense on the left side.
Bouncer to first and a backhanded play of Abreu. He'll take it himself, then he'll advance Moya to third, 2 outs. We'll bring up Anthony Gose, who has a walk in 3 at bats, also struck out twice.
When you look at Zach Duke, I think the Tigers envisioned when they signed Tom Gorzolani in the offseason to a free agent contract that he could have some of the similar success that Zach Duke has had the last couple of years. It didn't work out that way for Gorzolani early, but he has pitched better since coming back into the major leagues with that new arm slot. You can see the Duke arm slot is one that's similar now that Gorzolani is using. And low 3/4 sidearm arm slot, which is really good against left-handers. And he also steps toward first base when delivering that baseball. So if you're a left-handed batter, in this case being Anthony Gose, when Duke delivers the ball home, it literally looks like he is throwing the ball behind you.
2-2 on Gose. Should Duke lose Gose here, you've got Kinsler, the right-hander, on deck. Petrichka, the righty, in the bullpen. And he got him. Strike 3. Anthony caught looking, and that will retire the side. Nothing comes of the leadoff single. Coming up, the McLaren Health Plan 7th inning stretch. Five hits for both ball clubs here tonight. And we've got the Tiger bullpen in the last 11 games, Ron. They've been awfully good.
They really have. A 2.19 ERA in 37 innings. Opponent's batting average at 173. And they've been stingy. They've been keeping the ball in the ballpark. And this cat on the mound right now, Verhagen, he's been the leader of the pack.
Well side windows pitching change as Verhagen comes in, his 20th appearance. And he's going to face the right-handed batting Javi Garcia to lead it off. Garcia, Olta, and Sanchez. There's a strike called. Garcia in the ballgame sickled. He also reached on an error in his first at bat. Slice to right field is going to drop, base hit. Little tennis shot out there. He served it to right, leadoff single. Bring up Mike Holt. But into 0-2 is 0 for 2. Strikeout, ground out. September the 5th was when he was put on the waiver wire by the Cubs and then picked up by the White Sox. Broke his bat, little pop up. One away.
One of the things that we've been impressed with Verhagen since coming up, who was a starter by trade his entire minor league career. And coming to the big leagues this year, he's pitched exclusively out of the bullpen, but he throws straight downhill, and because of that, he gets tons of ground balls. I mean, he can really throw you a double play when you need one, and that's the case right now. He can use a ground ball off the bat of Sanchez.
Sanchez ground out strikeout. 225 this year. A little bit of power, 5 homers. And for Hagen back to the bag. Two game. We're in the 7th. There's a strike called on Sanchez. 2 runs on 6 hits for Chicago. 2-5-1 for the Tigers. A tight game last night, a 1-run game. Another tight game here tonight. We're tied. In fact, the White Sox have played 58 games this year, decided by 1 run.
A lot of close ones.
One of the most in the major leagues.
And Verhagen still looking for that ground ball.
Bounce again and away. All the way to the backstop. Garcia will head to second base, and on the go-ahead run. Out in scoring position. Wild pitch. Hagen, a brief chat with catcher Alex Avila. Now a chance for Sanchez to break the tie. He's ahead of the count, 2-1. Now time given to Sanchez. The wind's still howling here. Temperature, it's been 48 degrees for a while. I don't know if I'm buying that. I'm just not buying it. Outside, 3-1.
Yeah, don't just lay the ball over the plate here for Sanchez. Even if you walk him, it's not the end of the world. You're still playing for that double play ball if you do walk him.
Only walked him. So the White Sox now have 2 on. Time for a game break. We check in with Justin White. Max Scherzer easily could have 3 no-hitters this year.
Yeah, he lost one in the 9th inning, but just a few starts ago, right?
A few starts ago. It's amazing that someone could do that. 73, Nolan Ryan. Last time it's been done. 2 in 1 year.
The Washington Nationals have not had a lot to cheer about this year, but That is an awfully special moment. And Max becomes the second pitcher ever as well to throw 2 no-hitters in the same season without walking a batter. He did not walk a batter in either of his no-hitters. He hit one batter. That was in his last no-hitter. And then in his no-hitter this evening, the team made an error behind him, so to prevent him from getting a perfect game. 17 strikeouts.
Dominant stuff from Max Scherzer. Eden, meanwhile, here with 2 men on, and that's way inside and low, and that forces Avila to go down and get it 2-1.
I guess that picture that Max Scherzer tweeted out yesterday with him playing catch in the hotel.
I saw that.
Kind of helped him out a little bit. It was raining so hard that he couldn't throw on the field, so he threw in the hotel in the hallway. Did you see that?
I did, and that may be something that a lot of pitchers will start to do now. If guys are throwing no hitters, let's just throw in the hotel.
No, not in these hotels. These guys stay. It's a double play.
There's a 4-6, not in time. Eaton beats it out. That'll leave him at first and third.
And ball hit way too high, especially with the speed that Eaton has to turn 2. Ian Kinsler didn't waste any time getting that ball to the youngster Machado. And look at Machado stay in there. Base runner nearly clipped him, but he stayed in there and fired the ball over to Miguel Cabrera. But the pick by Mickey, not in time.
It's a great feed by Kinsler.
It was firm. They really tried to turn it.
So now first and third, here is Abreu trying to break the tie.
Pitcher in the major leagues this year to strike out more than Max in a game was Corey Kluber, who struck out 18 in one of his outings this season.
Abreu is 0 for 3. Swing and a miss.
Good breaking ball there thrown by Verhagen at 76 miles an hour. That came off the fingertips nicely. Straight down.
Avila able to block that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's just gotten a workout this half inning. Verhagen came on here in the 7th. Verlander went the first 6, struck out 9 in the ball game. But he allowed a 2-out RBI double to Alexei Ramirez in the 6th to tie it up. Swing and a miss again. So Abreu now is in a 1-2 hole.
They have given him a steady diet of breaking balls here this evening. And Justin Verlander got him to fly out harmlessly to center field his last time up, but only after a lot of breaking balls in his first 2 plate appearances. And the first 3 pitches by Verhagen here have been all curveballs to Abreu.
Abreu came into this game batting just .213 against Tigers pitching this year.
They've handled him well.
Need another strike here. And they got it. Down he goes. Verhagen leaves runners at first and third with a big strikeout of Abreu. 7 innings in the books. We go to the 8th in Chicago. 2-2 ball game as we go to the 8th. 2 runs, 6 hits for Chicago. 2 runs, 5 hits for the Tigers. And the White Sox will dip back into their bullpen now. They'll bring the right-hander out. Kinsler, Cabrera, Martinez due up here in the 8th, and they will face Jake Petrichka.
And Petrichka is pitching in his 62nd game as we speak. He has 12 holds with a 3.71 ERA. He throws lots of ground balls as well. He's a ground ball artist.
12 double plays turned behind Petrichka. Here is Kinsler to get things started. Ian is 0 for 3, but he's hit a couple of balls really hard to center field. Tigers' only runs coming on the home run by Cabrera in the 6th. Briefly gave them a 2-1 lead. Kinsler takes a strike. Chopper left side of the infield. Ramirez on the charge. Ian is out of there. 1 gone.
Here's our 1-800 call Sam call of the game. Miguel Cabrera against the starter Eric Johnson. Johnson threw him a breaking ball that fooled Miggy, his first pitch of the game. When Miggy got up, then he threw him that same breaking ball later. Miggy laced a single to left field. Later in the game, Johnson went to fastballs against Miguel. Miguel with a really good approach, all arms approach, hits a home run and ends his 121st AB drought as far as the last time he hit a homer.
And Cabrera takes one that just missed the outside corner from Petrichka.
He doesn't watch a lot of video. He doesn't study the opposing pitchers all that often. As a matter of fact, he really didn't want to hear the scouting report on the opposing pitcher. And yet he goes up and does the kind of damage that he's able to do.
There's a base hit to left field.
Do it, Miggy.
And so Cabrera tonight, a 3-hit game.
That batting title is secure,
to say the least. Go ahead, run on now. That'll bring up JD.
Great balance throughout the entire swing for Miggy.
Martinez a double strikeout and a flyout. Ball low. Each ball club now with 6 hits in this game. Now 2-0 on Martinez. Sox got a run in the 1st. Tigers got 2 in the 6th. White Sox tied it up in the bottom of the 6th. A 2-0. Way outside, 3-0.
I green light JD here. If he gets a fastball that's right down the middle, why not turn him loose in this ballpark? JD Martinez, 7th inning or later, has hit a lot of home runs and he's done a lot of damage in this particular inning.
Yep, green light. 3-1. More action in their bullpen. Jennings heating up. Driven to right field. Ball is hit well. Garcia, though, is circling to the warning track to make the catch. And holding at first base is Cabrera. Is the 2nd out of the inning. You follow the Tigers wherever you are with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights. Also live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet. wind is shifting a little bit, blowing in from left field now. There's a strike call. Earlier in the game, it was blowing straight out from left to right. Off the end of the bat toward third, running scoop there. Old throw is not in time. That'll move Cabrera to second. And the inning is still alive. Infield hit for Tyler Collins. Romine coming in a pinch run for Miguel.
It was looking like Oak was going to have a chance to throw Collins out after this ball hit off the end of the bat. But once he mishandled the exchange, he was not going to get Collins. A great hustle there by Tyler to get himself an infield single. If you've been following the Tigers all year this year, you know Castellanos with runners in scoring position. If you throw him a strike, whether it be a fastball or a breaking ball, he's not going to let it go by.
Two on and two outs. Ball one.
.342 with runners in scoring position this year for Castellanos. That is really good.
It gets away. Both runners move up. Right through the catcher, Brantley. Now they're in second and third.
Now that is a fastball down. As a catcher, you're not expecting the fastball to bounce. Therefore, it is very difficult for most catchers, even the big league catchers, to block that ball and to keep it in front of them. Breaking balls, you can make the adjustment, turning the glove over and keeping that ball in front of you, but not guys that throw 94 miles an hour.
Now a base hit here by Castellanos could get you a couple of runs. 2-2 tie in the eighth. Nick, a couple of fly balls in this game and a strikeout. Here's the 2-1. High fly ball right field. Should get him out of the inning. Garcia is under it, and the threat is over. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. To the bottom of the eighth we go. game 2 in this series. Separated by just 1 hit on the scoreboard. Romine stays in the game. He'll play first for Cabrera. Here is Melky Cabrera to lead it off for the bottom of the 8th against Drew Verhagen. He had a single and a walk in the 7th, but could not score against Verhagen. Struck out Abreu on a good breaking ball to end that 7th inning. And Cabrera looks at a strike 0-1.
Yeah, Verhagen has that fastball that goes anywhere from 92 to 95. We've seen him touch 96 this year. But that breaking ball that he demonstrated last time out against Abreu was a plus pitch.
Those nose to toes curveball.
Yeah.
1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike now on Melky Cabrera. Trace Thompson and then Alexei Ramirez. Bouncing ball left side. Castellanos ranging left. Bobble still has time. Save.
And that'll be an error on Castellanos.
Looked like he had him played nicely defensively. Had to just range a couple steps and couldn't handle it.
And ball appeared to just roll up his sleeve. And right at the heel, off the chest. And by the time he picks it up, and Cabrera crossing the bag. It's the second error of the evening for the Tigers.
Yuri Garcia is going to come on a pinch run at first base for Cabrera. Go ahead run is aboard now. We'll see what Thompson is up there to do. He has walked in this game and scored a run 0 for 2 otherwise.
It'll be interesting to see if he's bunting, because I don't know if he's bunting as part of his game.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I doubt he will. No sign of it there. Ball 1. Right side of the infield is open as they pinch up the middle defensively.
Here's where Verhagen really hasn't panicked all year since he's been pitching out of the Tigers bullpen. Runner simply gets on and he concentrates and throws the ball to the bottom of the strike zone, and which usually results in a ground ball. So it's very important for him to make sure that Garcia doesn't steal second base.
Here goes the runner. Avila's throw is going to bounce off of the runner Garcia. He moves to second with a steal.
Good exchange, good footwork, and that throw bounces down towards second base, and Ian Kinsler couldn't help him. That throw kind of tailed right into Garcia, and Ian couldn't pick it and apply the tag. It's a nice job there by Machado, backing up to make sure that ball didn't get into center field.
Charlotte this year, 30 stolen bases in 42 attempts.
Well, you got to keep him close if you're Verhagen. You can't let him get too much of a secondary lead until he feels comfortable taking off to steal third. Castellanos is playing so deep that he might not be able to get to the bag before Garcia does.
2-1 on Thompson. Ground ball to third. Castellanos gloves this one. Thompson is out. Runner holds.
That ball was hit so sharply at Castellanos that after he picked it, he kind of ran toward Garcia, the base runner at second base, to make sure he was not entertaining the thought of going to third base after Castellanos threw that ball across the diamond. Take a look at Nick here. He picks it, then he runs it back. He makes sure he goes back to second, and therefore Garcia can't get over third base. It's a big out there to keep him at second base.
Here's Alexei Ramirez. It was his slicing double back in the 6th that scored Thompson to tie the game. Verlander then struck out Brantley to end the inning in a 12-pitch at bat. Struck one on Ramirez. Tigers had 2 errors in this game. Ball low, 1 ball, 1 strike. The wind tonight here has just been absolutely relentless. Swing and a miss by Ramirez. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Like Alexei was trying to hit that ball out of the ballpark. Huge swing. Good 2-seam fastball there thrown by Drew.
Top toward third base. Castellanos handles that one, and Ramirez is out. Runner advancing to third. Couple of ground ball outs. 2 gone now with Garcia at third base. It's an opportunity now for Brantley, who gave Verlander that long battle his last at bat. Jones now has joined Jennings. Brantley is 0 for 3. Strikeout, 2 groundouts. Strike 1. Swing and a miss, and now quickly 0-2. Verhagen came in allowing only 3 runs in his last 22 1/3 innings. He surrendered a single, a walk, and been the victim of an error, but they haven't scored yet. Just got a piece of that one to follow down the first base line. Tigers in the 9th inning will have the bottom 3. Moya, Machado, and Avila due up. Slice back out of play.
Good pitch. And change the eye level of Brantley. After everything, basically bottom of the strike zone, a couple of off-speed pitches. He goes upstairs with a 92-mile-per-hour heater.
Verhagen about to throw his 34th pitch of the evening here in his relief effort. Ground ball right side. There's Romine. Pitcher covers for the out. And the threat is over. No runs in air. 1 man left. We go to the 9th. Brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows, we can do that. We are the factory. Chilly evening tonight in Chicago. We are tied at 2 as we go to the top of the 9th. Tigers 2 runs, 7 hits. White Sox 2 runs, 6 hits. We've got a new pitcher now. It's Dan Jennings coming on for Chicago.
And Jennings with a pretty good ERA. 3.95, 45 strikeouts, 23 base on balls. Been awfully stingy. He's only given up 1 earned run in his last 22 outings. So he's been pitching some really good baseball for a while now.
So Rajay Davis will pinch hit for Steven Moya here. Davis, Machado, Avila, the 3 hitters now due up in the 9th inning. Rajay coming off a really good month of September. And he looks at ball 1 inside. 1 ball, no strikes on Davis. The count. Put him on, let him steal a base. Jennings with the 2-0. 3-0.
And Rajay's done a lot of that. And no player in the American League had stolen more bases than Rajay since the beginning of the 2008 season. He has stolen nearly 300. 295 to be exact.
And he walked him on 4 straight. Leadoff man on here in the 9th inning. October means baseball, and FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action with the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama and history. It all begins Thursday on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
And Machado with already 1 sack bunt in the game here this evening, and more than likely he'll be up there trying to get number 2 here. And Rajay Davis, as we pointed out, has a tremendous amount of speed and can steal a base, but it might be difficult to do against a left-hander. Or too risky, one of the 2.
Machado had a sacrifice in his last at bat. Rajay will draw a throw.
The only thing about sacrificing here, you got the left-handed batting Avila in the on-deck circle, unless Brad Ausmus is going to pinch hit for Alex.
Machado already squaring. He'll drop it down. That'll get the runner up. Way up. He's just going to tag him now, and Davis gets to second. Sacrifice by Machado.
Looks like he's going to call Alex back.
McCann. Marte. Who else is on the bench?
He's got some candidates down there. Would it be Victor?
I don't know if Victor's available tonight. And McCann's putting the helmet on.
Now here's where Rajay might attempt to steal third base if Sanchez and Alexei Ramirez, the shortstop and second baseman respectively, and give him a little bit too much room to go.
Rajay leading off with a 4-pitch walk. McCann for Avila here, the second pinch hitter used in this inning. 263 for James this year, 7 homers.
In case you're wondering on Rajai Davis, he has stolen third base 91 times in his major league career. 91 of 101. So he's been caught 10 times.
Looks like he's trying to loosen up, too.
Got that oven mitt on, too.
He even warms up with a flare.
Love him.
It's fun to watch.
Love Rajai.
All right, here's McCann now with the go-ahead run at second.
And there's no doubt that Don Cooper, with that visit to the mound, made sure that somebody was going to keep Rajai close at second base, and it's the second baseman Sanchez's job to do so right now.
McCann takes the strike, 0-1. White Sox have gone with Duke, Petrichka, and now Jennings out of their bullpen. Oh, 0-2. Neither team has been able to score since the 3-run sixth when the Tigers got 2 and the White Sox got 1. Fly ball right field. Garcia's on the move, still going back. He looks up and it's off the wall. Davis rounding third. He'll come around to score. It's a pinch hit double for James McCann. And the Tigers have taken a 3-2 lead.
And Jennings was able to get ahead of James McCann. No balls and 2 strikes, and he didn't waste a pitch. He threw a breaking ball to the bottom of the strike zone, and great concentration by the youngster McCann to flip the ball off the gate in the outfield over the head of Garcia, which made it very easy for Rajai Davis to score.
Well, might as well get McCann in.
That is a thing of beauty.
Here's Anthony Gose. Swing and a miss by Gose. Anthony has struck out 3 times in this game. He's also walked and scored. Davis comes around with a go-ahead run.
Another really good sac bunt by Dixon Machado to get Rajai Davis into scoring position.
One ball, 1 strike. I believe that's one of the most difficult things to do in this game, to sit on that bench for what, 8 innings in the freezing cold night here. Just come on out and poke a double off the right field wall to score the go-ahead run.
That's a great point, Mario, because pinch hitting is difficult to do in the best of circumstances, when the weather is just right, in the middle of the summer.
It ain't just right now.
Let alone in a night like tonight.
Swing and a miss. So it goes down and strikes again. Now Neftali Feliz, the Tigers closer, warming up. It's going to bring Robin Ventura out again. With Kinsler to go up, they'll go back to the bullpen. So we'll step aside. The Tigers have the lead. We'll be back. Good 10th quality start in his last 11 outings. McCann has just delivered the go-ahead run with a big pinch hit double here. And Nate Jones coming out of the bullpen now for Chicago.
He's inherited 7 base runners this year in the 18 games that he has been in, and not one of those have come around to score.
Kinsler trying to change that. That ball gets away, and now McCann chugging toward third will get in there. Brantley unable to corral that thing. Put the runner at third. Pass ball. One and one on Kinsler, who is hitless in this game. 301 this year, 2 outs, runners in scoring position. Fouled off. 1-2 on Ian. White Sox peeking ahead have the bottom 3 to up Garcia, Olton, Sanchez. And they'll be facing Phillies.
Jones features the kind of delivery you don't see very often. And very mechanical, unorthodox.
He's got a little hesitation, brings the ball out of his glove.
Yeah, he does. It shows it to you. But it could disrupt your timing, for sure.
Foul tip into the glove for strike 3. Kinsler is out, so are the Tigers. However, James McCann delivers in a pinch. Doubles off the wall in right field. And the Tigers have the lead once again. Go to the bottom of the ninth. Bottom of the ninth inning, and the Tigers trying to hold on to this one here. Got some defensive changes. You got Davis staying in the game to play left. Collins will move from left to right. Feliz and McCann, your new battery now. McCann staying in the game, and Feliz trying to close this one out here in the ninth.
'30th game for Feliz with the Tigers this year. 27 2/3 innings. The ERA elevate, but he has pitched better since he's taken over the closer's role.
And again, the bottom 3 coming up for Chicago. It's Garcia, Olton, Sanchez due up. 3 runs for the Tigers. They've done it on a total of 8 hits, 2 runs, 6 hits for Chicago. Garcia, a couple of singles in each of his last 2 at bats. He has singled. And ball one from Phillies.
And you got to retire the first batter if you're Phillies. You can't allow Garcia to reach.
Ball high, and now it's 2-0. Phillies pretty much taking over the closer's role. Bruce Rondon was sent home a couple of weeks ago. Tigers have also used Wilson for a brief spot in that closer's role. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Up and in. 3 balls and no strikes on Garcia. Phillies made his Tigers debut in July. He was in Minnesota. They had picked him up after the Rangers had let him go. There's a strike call, 3-1. Tigers tonight have gone with Verhagen for 2 innings, and now Phillies here in the 9th. That's in there, 3-2 on Garcia. JV tonight went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs, struck out 9.
And threw over 120 pitches tonight, did Justin Verlander, but fastball was firm in the mid-90s all night long.
Did he go? He did not, and that's a leadoff walk. What do you got here, Ryan?
I don't know, man. What they got going on here tonight?
I think we're celebrating Halloween, to be honest.
Oh, is that what they're doing?
Yeah, it's countdown to Halloween here.
Oh, okay. That would not be my first choice of the costume.
No. Wouldn't even be on my list. If my list was 100 deep, it wouldn't be on my list.
Well, you know what Saladino's up there doing right now? He's up there attempting to sacrifice Garcia in the scoring position. That's why Castellanos is about 10 steps in from third base on the infield grass. But Saladino wants to bunt this ball down toward first.
And he popped it up. It's going to be caught by Romine. That'll help. One away.
Initially, J.B. Shuck was in the on-deck circle. Had Garcia not reached, Shuck would have hit right there where Saladino tried to bunt the runner in the scoring position. So they simply flip-flopped him again. Now here's J.B. Shuck. Tigers got a break there, buddy.
Yep, they did. It's first baseman got him in the air. So Shuck is in the pinch hit. 241 is a pinch hitter, 5 RBI. Ground ball here. Let's go home.
I like your attitude. I like your thought process.
1-0 on Shuck. You got the top of the order. Eaton waiting on deck. Don't want to mess with him. 3-2. Tigers took the lead in the top of the 9th inning on a double pinch hitting roll by James McCann. Here's the 1-0.
And J.B. Shuck made an outstanding catch in last night's game. This ball was slicing away from him over his head. He left his feet. He lost control of the ball momentarily, only for it to bounce into his left hand. It's a fine, fine play by J.B. Shuck. I thought that was going to be the play of the night, man, until I saw that catch in Toronto. Pilar?
Kevin Pilar.
Oh, my goodness. He made another catch last night that was stupid.
There's a base hit right by Romine.
Get it in.
Garcia going to third base. They're going to send him home. Here's the throw to the plate. He is safe. And the White Sox have tied the game on a pinch hit double by J.B. Shuck. 3-3 game, and now the winning run is at second. Oh, scalded right by Romine.
Yeah, he was holding on Garcia at first base, and he couldn't react on that bullet hit off the bat of J.B. It's a little two-seam fastball or changeup, whatever it is. It's at 87 miles an hour, and it's right down the middle. And Shuck, he turned on it.
With Shuck at second, representing the winning run. 3-3 game here in the ninth. And a foul, 0-1.
And the Tigers outfielders playing very shallow at their respective positions.
Leadoff walk comes around to score. The 0-1. 1-2 now on Eaton. A couple of singles. He has stolen a base and scored a run tonight for the White Sox. Phillies blows the save here in the ninth. He's trying to get it to the 10th. Popped him up. Comes Kinsler cruising up. 2 gone. Here's Jose Abreu.
I know they've been able to handle Abreu really all night long, and really they have good numbers against him this year. With the base opening, 2 outs in the game on the line, you got to think about putting him on, though. You just have to. I don't know what they'll do, though. We'll see.
Put him on. So Ray will not bat here. That'll leave runners at first and second. They lifted Melky Cabrera for a pinch runner Garcia. And Leury Garcia has moved to the on-deck circle. There's another one wide, and intentional walk will put runners at first and second. And now ball 4 to put Abreu aboard, so they won't mess with him. Bring up Garcia, getting his first in bat. He's going to bring Jonesy out. The Tigers pitching coach Jeff Jones. 3-3 game. The White Sox tied up. The RBI double by J.B. Shuck. So a couple of pinch hit doubles. One for McCann, one for Shuck.
Chevrolet brings you the high-strength steel. Miguel Cabrera homered in the 6th inning, and a lot of arms. Didn't use his lower half nearly as much as Mickey usually uses the lower half, but he connected and hit the ball out of the ballpark. Adam Eaton, center field, couldn't elevate enough to catch that baseball.
So here's Garcia, just 2 for 13 this year. Ball 1 high.
And 2 of the 3 runs that the White Sox have scored this evening have come on the guy that's been walked in the game. Earlier in the 6th, it was Trace Thompson that was walked and scored. Abreu here in the 9th walked and scored. Not Abreu, but Garcia. Excuse me.
1 ball, 1 strike on Leury Garcia. At 298 down at AAA Charlotte this year with 30 steals. Inside, 2 balls, 1 strike. Tigers tonight with 8 hits, 7 now for the White Sox. Trace Thompson waiting on deck. Here's the 2-1 swing and a miss. 2-2.
Fastball at 96. He threw that ball right by Garcia.
Bouncing ball left side, base hit. Shot grounding third. They send him home. Rajay's throw not in time. A walk-off hit for Leury Garcia, and Chicago wins it in the bottom of the 9th. Tigers score in the top of the 9th, but the White Sox answer with 2. We'll be back.